Hi. You know, the question floating around hitRECord for a while now about tell us about your first time to do with anything, I haven't been able to think of a single thing about it, so I just avoided that question altogether. But then, tonight, at the time in which I'm recording this, something clicked in my brain about, oh, wait a minute, that's a good story to tell about a first time doing something. So, you know, well done brain for eventually kicking in. So, yes, I'm going to tell you about this thing now. This story is about my first time singing in front of an audience, specifically a massive audience, and even more specifically, that's not a word, yes, singing in front of a massive audience in the Royal Albert Hall. Because, yeah, that's a thing that happened. So, allow me to elaborate for you. Many years ago, in the far-flung mists of time, I was in primary school, and I was about 10 or 11 years old in this primary school that I went to. It was the second primary school that I went to, because in my time in obligatory education, I was in 2 primary schools and 2 secondary schools. So this story is regarding the second primary school, and in this second primary school, I was in the school choir. I think that was when I was in year 5, I joined it maybe, or year 6, I can't remember which, but the point is, joined the school choir for whatever reason I decided to join, and apparently back then I could sing, which is a surprising development now because I've really devolved in terms of my singing abilities, but still, I digress. I was in the school choir, sung with it, and then things escalated to the point in which the school choir was given the opportunity to perform at the Royal Albert Hall, with a bunch of other school choirs, of course, in the same area, and we were all going to perform together, all these school choirs, in one go, in this one big, massive performance in front of a massive audience, and it was going to be filmed and put on DVDs that were going to be sold in all the schools, and there was an orchestra, and it was a big, massive do, right? And so we prepared for ages, right? We were singing and rehearsing and singing, having to sing from the diaphragm. That was always the very constant direction given by our music teacher. Always go from the diaphragm, sing that way. And singing these songs over and over again. The songs were very strange, but more on that in a minute. And we just kept singing these songs all the time in preparation for the eventual performance that we were going to give. And then one day we got t-shirts that were made specifically for us for the performance we were going to have. This is my t-shirt that I still have from whenever that whole thing was going down. And this is what it has on the back. Just for extra proof in case you didn't really believe me when I said Royal Albert Hall. Well, you know, there it is. And yeah, so this was still too small for me even back then. For some reason, small seemed to be something that my size was supposed to be. But I was still like a pig in a blanket, really. Very thin, ill-fitting blanket. But still, this is what I had. And then, sometime after that, I don't know how long after, because my recollections of all this stuff are increasingly fading over time, as age sets in, and decrepitude even more so. But eventually, we got on a bus at some point one day to go to London. And it was not that many miles away actually, because we were nearer to London than I am now, but, you know, many miles away, go to London and go to the Royal Albert Hall. And on the day that we were doing all this, everyone was really quite nervous, as I'm sure you can imagine, and especially because we were all school kids, triply, quadruply so than any other people, I'd imagine. Or maybe we were as nervous as anyone else would be performing at the Royal Albert Hall. I'm saying it again and again because even I find it hard to believe no matter how many times I tell this story to people, and I have told this story a few times here and there, but still, I find it increasingly hard to believe the older I get. But we were all backstage, right, on the day of the performance, and we were all nervous, and people were chatting amongst themselves really quite nervously. Some were shaking, some were just sitting down. There was twitching going on all over the place, I'm sure. And I'm sure we had to... Well, did we eat before we had the performance, or were we even allowed to? Because who knows? If we had have eaten, it might have led to a whole stand-by-me vomiting situation going on, I don't know. But whatever it was that was going on, nerves were definitely prevalent backstage on the day. And then it came time for us to actually go out and perform. And so I think we all lined up and we had to go out in formation, go into our seats wherever they were, and just sit in the seats that we were designated. I have the distinct feeling of nervousness that I definitely remember very well. I remember also looking for my mum and my sister, looking for them in the audience, wondering if they were even there at all. And throughout the entire performance that I was about to give, I was convinced that they were not there. And I was like really saddened, but I was like holding it down so I could perform for the benefit of the choir because I was just so very good, I doubt. But yes, in the seat, everyone nervous, growing increasingly nervouser as all the audience was going in and filling the place up, and all the school choirs were filling their seats, and then the orchestra filling their places, and eventually, sooner or later, it had to come, the performance started. And it was an amazing experience. I mean, it's really a faded thing now, and I'm just going by whatever I remember of my feeling that I previously had of the experience itself. But what I remember of that is that it was extremely exhilarating, and the feeling was like nothing I'd ever felt before. And sitting down and listening to all the other school choirs perform, that was an enjoyable thing as well, hearing them they'd gone through the rehearsals that we'd have had to gone through as well, and they were all doing brilliantly, and then all the school choirs had to unite at some point and sing one big massive song together that we'd all been prepared to have to sing together. And it was incredible. And also another thing I mentioned before, that the songs were strange. Yeah, they were strange, because if you look at the t-shirt itself, it says Royals, Rogues and Rhymes. Now the reason for that is that it involved, I'm guessing, Royals, Rogues and Rhymes, but it also involved songs to do with the Black Death, which is really the only song that I distinctly remember knowing how to sing a bit of. The Black Death! Hell if I know what the rest of the song is, but still, that bit, it's firmly entrenched in the recesses of my brain. And a bunch of other songs. I'm sure one of them had to do with the Pied Piper. Seriously, they were actually really quite menacing songs, actually. They were like songs written by Roald Dahl or something. It's just really morbid subject matter. It was strange. But I suppose if the teachers say that it's alright to sing songs about a massive plague that infected the entire world and killed millions upon millions of people in the Middle Ages, then yeah, sure, why not? And then, finally, the performance ended. And then we all filed back out into our changing rooms and changed into our normal clothes that I'm sure we had to bring with us, considering that we had to change into these shirts before we went out and performed and stuff. And then eventually we went out the front entrance of the Royal Albert Hall to go back on the coach. And I don't think it was until I got back to the school after the coach returned from the Royal Albert Hall to the school that I found my mum and my sister waiting for me, and them telling me that they had been there all along. They had seen the performance. They had been up in the wings on what is my right hand side, way up there, where I could not see them at all because it was like probably really, really dark. I'm sure it was. But they definitely saw the whole performance. They were really proud of me and stuff, and we all got pats on the back, I assume we did. We all got cheered on. We all got really good support for having done the whole thing. And it was just really confidence boosting, sort of. I was still a really shy child and stuff. And the school said that they were selling DVDs of the performance to the parents who would want to have the DVDs of the performance. Apparently the school had been filming all along, but we never got a DVD of the whole thing, which is a shame because I'm guessing the footage now has long since disappeared over these intervening years. It's been nearly 10 years. Jesus. My God. Okay. Well, I feel really old now, but yeah, I'm sure that footage is long gone unless anyone else from the school and in the choir still has the DVD somewhere. I'm really hoping so, because I wish it was out there somewhere. Like the Godspeed You Black Emperor album, All Lights Fox on the Hairy Amp Drooling. I really hope there's a cassette of that out there somewhere and still not recorded over condition. But, yeah, that is the story of that. My first time singing in front of a massive freaking audience in the Royal Albert Hall. And I'm still not entirely believing of it, as I say the story itself, because it's so ridiculous. But this is evidence of it. If I could find the booklet that has the lyrics to the ridiculously menacing songs, I would show that too and read out some of the lyrics, but I don't know where that is. It could be anywhere right now. But, you know, that's a thing that happened. So, yeah. Anyway, thanks for watching. Thanks again. Bye.